Hello, everybody.
Hello.
I'm super excited today because I am here with my good friend Jennifer Joyce of Jennifer Joyce Design, and we are ready for happy hour. I have to tell you, before we even get started, this was supposed to be a live video, but we have spent the better half of the day trying to make the live portion of this work via Zoom. So, troubleshooting aside, we finally decided it's definitely time for a glass of wine. And so we're going to just get started where we're going to record this one and I'll continue troubleshooting. But if anybody out there in Facebook world knows how to make it work to go live on Facebook, that would be awesome. Please message me directly. We can't, there's a delay. So I'm talking and then there's a, it's
The video would get cut short and people wouldn't get to see it all and
so it's good
all
time.
that fun stuff.
Anyway, so we're going to move forward. We're going to improvise and we're not going to do this quite live so at any rate, that's okay. You'll still get all the good stuff. So Jennifer, I've known Jennifer since my days in the wedding industry. That's the industry that I came from prior to my days as a real estate agent. And as many of you, I'm working from home right now. So behind me, that's what you're seeing. This is my home office for the time being. I don't get to be in the play with fun things like Jen does, but at any rate, that's okay. So I'm going to turn it over to Jen. And Jen, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself and how you got started as a floral designer, how long you've been doing this? And
Yeah. So I'm located in downtown Menomonie. I've actually been in the floral industry in some capacity for 22 years now, which seems
wow,
crazy,
I didn't even
right?
realize that.
But I started as a little floral delivery gal when I was in college. I went to college at Stout for interior design. And yeah, delivered flowers, washed buckets, learning all the basics. And yeah, now I've had my business for 11 years, primarily focus on weddings, events, special occasions. In the studio I'm in now, I've been in here for about 2.5 years, which is great. I'll give it, yep, in Menomonie. I'll give a little tour here at the end of this, but it's allowing me to do way more than I've ever been able to do as far as kind of customer service and sales. So doing classes, workshops, different events. People can rent out the studio space for their own bridal shower, baby shower. I've done birthday parties in here. Photographers renting it for photo shoots, baby shoots, family shoots, headshot sessions, collabing, kind of open for anything and anything creative and fun as far as like a space for people to come and do things differently. So once all this craziness is gone and done, I'm really excited to have more events and things that people can come up here and actually be in the space and shop and all that kind of stuff. But with all the unknownness in the world right now, I've kind of gone shifting a little bit more into everyday deliveries and also curbside pickup. I think plants and flowers and all those kind of linking steps to nature are super important to fuel people with joy, and not only to kind of give yourself maybe some of that meditative therapy with either a fresh plant or flowers, but to give it to somebody else. And even just in the last week that I've been doing this, I'm amazed at how many different orders come in for so many different reasons. Whether it's just somebody who had a baby shower planned and they had to cancel all those things, so they want to send something to someone, or a grandparent that is normally, super involved with their grandkids' lives and they can't see them, so giving them a little bit of love and letting them know that they're thinking of them. And then all the normal, birthday, anniversary, get well kind of stuff like that. So I think it's really important for people to kind of spread that joy right now. And you're kind of, getting two birds with one stone in the fact that you're supporting a local, small soul sole lady working this biz. So it's, yeah, I think it's really important to support those local businesses and those artisans and those people that are in not only the event industry, but, you know, those small businesses in general. So, yeah.
And you're super easy to find in Menomonie. You're right on the corner. And
Yep.
tell a little bit about where you're located, because you're in the
Yeah. So
building with.
right downtown Menomonie. If you've been to Menomonie and are familiar with the Acoustic Cafe, that's down on the lower level of the building. I'm up on the second floor. It's actually the old Masons Temple, so it's a really cool historic building right downtown, close to a lot of other great restaurants, the Mabel Tainer, different areas and places downtown. So people that are going out and shopping or doing that kind of like out and about type of thing, really easy. Or if you've never been from here, you know, easy to kind of find my spot, come up, talk wedding flowers, all that kind of fun stuff.
If you haven't been to her shop, it's super cool. She's got a really, really nice space. I would
Thank
love to
you.
be quarantined there for however long it took. Great.
Right, right.
Okay. Well, so today you're going to tell us about some of your top 5 floral picks for spring. I've learned things from you. I had no idea. So I'm going to let you talk about what are your top 5 favorite spring picks right now?
Yeah, so spring is actually my favorite time of year for flowers. I think because you kind of are coming out of that hibernation of winter mode and you're ready for fresh and you're ready for color and all that kind of stuff.
Especially right now. And
Right.
April, this is great. So.
Right. Yeah. Well, and I think, you know, when people think spring, a lot of times they're thinking bulb flowers. So my top 3 out of my 5 are actually all bulb flowers. So, you know, people are really familiar with tulips. These are fresh cut. So these aren't on a bulb, excuse me, but they would have been grown on a bulb. I have the little bulb gardens and little bulb plants that you can see. This is a little window box arrangement, you know, and this is going to have a mix of those bulbs in there. But what's cool with bulbs is that after they've grown and bloomed and done all their loveliness, you can actually take them out of the dirt and then plant them in your backyard later.
So when would you plant those? So say you've got your bulb garden. Well, we can talk about that when we get to bulb gardens, but.
Yeah, bulbs, you know, they would, I'm not the biggest like gardener girl. I wish I was.
That's
I'm
okay.
fresh cut girl. But I think it's like,
isn't that the fall?
like, yeah, like end of, you know, before there's the frost, because you want to like have them X amount of inches underneath the soil so they don't freeze. Bulbs can also go dormant. You can kind of have them hang out for a little while. But you know, your tulips, daffodils, hyacinth, grape hyacinth, just tulips in general as a variety. There's tons of different types. Like this is a pretty standard tulip. You can get Dutch tulips, which are going to have a really big head. Parrot tulips, which can be roughly and kind of have cool variegation. What's really fun about tulips too is when they are fresh cut and cut, they continue to grow after they've been cut.
No
so
kidding.
even if I were to cut this stem here, it's going to continue to grow and grow towards the sun.
Really? So it's actually growing.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, which is kind of cool. So when I'm arranging with them, I'm always mindful that where I first put them, they're going to kind of change because they're going to grow and
I had no idea.
a little different.
Tulip's my favorite flower, one of my favorites, but it's one of my top favorites. So
yeah, they're simple, elegant. I think you know, one of my Mother's Day and Easter special arrangements is going to be just straight up tulip vases of mixed tulips. These are also sustainably grown, so I love that I'm supporting local flower farmers and, you know, people in the community as well that shop local, and I think it's really cool. Tulips can also last out of water for a really long time.
Really?
Which is also really kind of neat too. So, even a day. You cut them
Really?
again, they're going to perk back up and be really happy. So yeah, these are fresh cut tulips. I can get them in all sorts of colors, all sorts of varieties. And then also into kind of the bulb gardens, which would kind of pull up sort of one of my next favorite flowers that I have kind of listed, which are daffodils. And so all of this stuff came in today, so it's still really green and new. But this would be a 6-inch bulb garden of just straight up daffodils. And you can actually even see the bulbs,
Wow.
you know, popped up out of there. So those are what you would be able to plant in the ground after these have done all their fun stuff.
So, so you would just save those. So say it's
Yep.
done. How long do you wait for it to be done when it's just done?
I would wait for all of your greenery and everything to get really dry and crusty, because you kind of want all of that nutrients to go right back and down into the bulb.
Okay.
So once this gets brown and dried out, that means all those vitamins and all that nutrients is going to go back into your bulb and have a hardier kind of plant. But these will be a combo of a yellow and white daffodil. Daffodils, I think, are very beautiful. They have a lot of meaning too, with hope and related to, you know, different things as far as like friendship and different kind of awareness, cancer awareness and things like that as well. But these little, you know, it's not really that little, but these 6-inch bulb gardens, you know, are going to last a little bit longer than a fresh cut flower arrangement, just because they are kind of a growing type of thing. So if you've got little ones, it's kind of cool for them to watch things grow, have responsibility of, you know, watering and taking care of plants. I think is a really good step, especially if you don't have pets. Plants are little babies too, so it's a way to kind of teach responsibility, science, art, nature. You know, any of these too could get clipped out and put into water. Your kids could use them as like a little still life like inspiration for a drawing or something like that too. Daffodils also are kind of crazy in that they have a sap in their stem that actually kills off other flowers. So
No kidding.
whenever I am cutting those and giving them a fresh cut, I like to, you know, cut them underwater so it helps get rid of some of that sap. And then, you know, put them in a vase arrangement or something like
So
that.
if you put them in a vase with other flowers, will they kill the other flowers?
The sap can, yeah.
No kidding.
Mm-hmm.
Huh.
The Chinese fighting fish in the flower world. So my next favorite flower, and I feel kind of bad because I don't really have the best, because it's not really blooming out yet, but it's in the hyacinth family. So this is an 8-inch bulb garden, and this one's in a mossed up basket.
That's so cute.
So this is another option.
How much does something like that run?
So this one is $40, and that'll be with, you know, a bow and little butterflies, things that are kind of like mossed in and picked in to kind of add a little bit more spring.
And then how many bulbs would be in that by the, you know?
This big one, there's a lot. You're going to have tulips, daffodils. You can see the little tiny grape hyacinth. Mm-hmm. There's also bigger hyacinth in there. It's a larger, bigger hyacinth. I would say there's probably close to maybe 20 bulbs in here.
Oh my gosh, that's a great deal then.
Give or take. But a really nice thing to even just, you know, for Easter to like set on a table, you know, as a centerpiece, something that is easy care, easy for somebody to throw a little bit of water in there, and kind of take care of it that way. The smaller little guys are 18.
Okay. So when you look on a bulb garden, so for example, that one with the hyacinth that you have,
yeah,
if someone purchases something like that and it hasn't bloomed yet, how much time could they expect before they start to see the blossoms?
Oh, they're gonna continue. I mean, even this one today that I got in earlier, I could barely see all the yellow, and they've already started kind of opening up. And
wow,
So if you got one this week or even early next week, they're going to be fully blooming by Easter
Oh,
for
nice.
sure.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
And how long will they bloom after?
Anywhere between like a week and a half, full blooms,
Oh,
depending, and
nice. So
some
that, and
will
you can
kind of
cut
die
them.
off.
You said you can cut them and put them in a
Yep.
vase also?
Yeah. Yep.
Okay.
I've also got these smaller little window box varieties, and those have a mix.
Those are cute.
And these are 20.
That's really
And
cute.
those have probably about, let's see, 1, 2, 3, about 8 or 9 bulbs in there as well. So yeah, those little guys are really, I don't know, I think they're really cool. They're fun. There's a range as far as price points.
Sure.
There's something that's a little bit different and unexpected, and scream spring. So those would be like my top 3 as far as like bulb flowers.
Okay.
My other favorite spring thing that kind of starts coming out now is pussy willow.
Nice.
So I love pussy willow and blooming branches and all those kind of fun spring things that come in now. These look great added into bulb gardens, added into arrangements.
I always thought of pussy willows as a fall thing. I don't know why.
Right,
It just,
right.
and I love them.
Like the first signs of spring and the little buds. These are great too, just as is in like a vase or a cool container. This variety is actually really, I mean, this is pretty tall.
Oh my gosh.
So, I mean, yeah, these guys are big. And just another way to kind of add some texture, add some dimension.
Do those just dry like that then? I mean,
Yeah, you might get some of the little, some of the little guys that fall off. But yeah, they're going to kind of dry like as is.
So should you put them in water if someone were to order a?
Yeah, you could put them in water for a little while. They might actually open up and flower a little bit more.
Oh.
But then, yeah, kind of like a cool dried element as something kind of just fun and different.
What other types of, you said they're branch, what did you call them?
Yeah, like blooming branches. So cherry blossoms, all those kind of different sort of blooming woody branches are really kind of cool. I'm trying like dogwood.
Pretty.
Yeah, just add more height. Even those just in a vase by themselves, they're gonna open and you're kind of gonna enjoy them for a longer period of time too.
Sure.
And then my 5th, and it's not necessarily full on spring, but you start to see a lot of these, I think, more in the beginning of spring. But I picked it because orchids are my favorite flower.
Okay.
And I think that, what's cool about orchids is they're year round. So you can get them all the time. This is probably one of the most common types of orchids that you see. You're going to see these a lot of times in stores and stuff too. But what's kind of different than like this versus a store one is I normally try to get in cool novelty. So something that might have like a stripe, or this one's got this kind of crazy like fuchsia speckling on them. I always like to put them in more unique containers than necessarily just like a plastic pot cover. And then I dress it up with branches. I'm going to add some little butterflies into this one. It'll have decorative moss in the bottom. But what I love about these orchids is just longevity.
So that's my question on orchids. My mom used to have them, and I'm horrible with plants. It's amazing I can keep.
I could tell by your background. I could tell by the background.
There are no plants in my house. I do great. I love my flowers in the spring. My deck is full of flowers, but then by August, I'm over it. I'm like, I'm so tired of watering things. So caring for orchids that are in your house, like how do they need to be cared for? Do they need a lot of lights? Like, are they high maintenance?
So I ignore my plants. I
Oh, well,
think
I do too, but then they die.
well, ignore to a certain degree.
Okay, well, now you
I
say
don't
ignore, I'm
completely
thinking really.
neglect and forget about. I just don't obsess over. And I think that's because it's really easy for people to overwater plants. As soon as something starts to get overwatered, it's harder for you to get it back to where it needs to be, because it's going to get root rot. So if it had really healthy, happy roots and then they're rotting away, then they have a bad root system, and then it's just kind of like, you know,
Mine don't suffer from overwatering.
it's just neglect watering, and then they just dry up and
I'm sorry, if you can't survive on air alone, then you're out of luck.
you just need an air plant.
We'll get to those. That's on my list of questions here. So,
yeah. But what's crazy, so, the orchids have these little air roots, so it's a different type of root system. It's actually, they're tropical, so they like a humid, moist environment. And so these little air roots are actually like, picking up that moisture in the air and, without you even watering it. Sometimes people will be like, oh, put like 2 ice cubes in it every other week, or whatever. Normally what I like to do for the orchids is, like this one, for example, I will keep it in its grower's pot, and you can see the roots, those air roots just circling around in there. It's not a basic soil, it's more of your chip soil, like wood chip soil, because it's not needing all that moisture in the soil, because it's just going to make those roots rot out. So what I normally do is I will pull this all out, set it in the sink, and let water just run over it for a good while until it's running out the bottom. Make sure and shake that out so you don't just have this pool of water in your container. Pop it back in there and let it do its thing. What's cool with orchids is, these blooms are going to last, they could last a few months.
Really?
On this plant. Yeah, so you're really, even though you might be purchasing something that's at a higher price point than, let's say, your $20 bulb garden, this is something that you're going to be able to enjoy and have in your home for a long period of time that's flowering, and that then becomes kind of more of a green plant when you're done. Orchids also do have the potential of blooming again after the blooms have all died down, and I have an example of that too, where this one here just bloomed, just popped that shoot out. And now I've got those 3. You really want your leaves to be healthy. The more big leaves you have, the better. I've never transplanted this one out of this container. You can see where it had an original shoot at one point.
Yep.
Once this shoot died off, and there too, kind of like the bulbs, gets all brown, crusty, you want all of that nutrients to go back into your plant. That's then when I clip this off. Okay. So it was dried out for a little while before that came off of there, but yeah, and this too is going to last quite a while.
Okay.
They're just so cool. This is a Phalaenopsis orchid. They also like to call it a moth orchid because it kind of looks like a moth. Come in a ton of different varieties.
How much light do they need?
I would say, they would prefer more light, maybe not super direct, like bright light streaming in on them. Most things don't like a ton of just massive direct light unless they're like a cactus or a succulent, because then sometimes they can get sunburn. You know, they're kind of a lot like people in a way. You can kind of think of roots as like hair, and you know, same with when you're transplanting a plant and you're moving, you know, it's hard on them. So giving them back their water, their nutrients, their things like that, you know, help them stay longer. But I think orchids are amazing as a cut flower. There too, last really, really long time. They're just something more exotic, a little bit unexpected, and kind of unique. So those are my top 5.
So tell me, we had talked a little bit about things that you have for Easter. You've got some special things for Easter people can order and pick up.
Yeah. So Palm Sunday is starting this weekend.
Wow,
So
already.
Sunday is
Okay.
Palm Sunday and kind of the start of Easter and all those types of festivities. So I actually did order in some really
Gosh, those are
cool
so cool.
palmetto palms. So they're very large and fan-like. They're a little bit non-traditional, a little bit larger than what you would get at Palm Sunday at church. But I picked these specifically because they dry really cool.
Nice.
It's something that could easily, you know, if you get it for Palm Sunday and you have it for your in-home service, if your church is doing services, you know, through a video feed, you know, you can kind of have those things. But even this in a vase with just, you know, even 2 or 3 stems is going to look super cool. And then something that can dry and become more of like, you know, plant art or, you know, I think dried florals, dried plants, dried greenery is a whole nother area of sustainability. And, you know, I always tell my brides about that, especially when it comes to drying their bouquets and keeping their bouquets. I think dried florals added in with fresh are super cool. So yeah, these palms, I'm running 3 for $5.
Okay.
And like I said, you know, they're really big, they're really cool.
That is very cool. I love it.
So yeah, and those 2 could easily be something that I could drop off in a delivery, or could be the little curbside pickup downtown.
Love it.
So those are kind of some of the Palm Sunday things. For Easter, you know, all the bulb gardens, blooming plants, blooming hydrangea, blooming kalanchoe, azaleas, all those different type of little bloomers are great. Same with green plants. And I've got little, you know, if you're wanting a price point that's closer to that like $20-$25 range, you know, something that's real small. This is a little jade, and it's in a ceramic, you know, container. So, you know, there too, something that's not plastic.
Right.
It's got a little water source. Jades and succulents and things like that are more easy care in the fact that you're not having to water because it's got a real thick, hardy leaf. So it's sucking all that moisture into its leaf versus like a fern or something that's wanting a lot of water because it's delicate and it's a little bit more fragile. But these little guys for that kind of $20-$25 price point are pretty cool. Another option, a succulent you could put in there.
Love that.
The little burro's tail.
Those are cute. I love that.
And these are going to grow, you know, and get a lot bigger. And they can hang out in these pots for a good chunk of time. And then you could transplant them, move them to another pot. But a great little tiny gift for a friend. There too, kind of going back to that, something that you want to give a teacher or a healthcare worker or a nurse or just a family friend that, you know, you haven't seen in a while and you know is lonely. Perfect little gift that I could easily drop on a doorstep and ding dong ditch style and get it out.
Idea.
Right? But all those kind of like green plants, blooming plants, You name it, I can get in. Even crazy, kind of weird. This is a stick plant, more in that cactus family,
Huh.
you know, super linear, kind of crazy. This could potentially get some like little flowery blooms on it. And the sticks can get more like red colored. So just some kind of cool different plants. And then, like I mentioned too, you know, just a vase of tulips or some of those sustainably grown flowers or a mixed vase, you know, I can get all those things yet. Mm-hmm.
So I have to go back to these plants that can survive on air only. Because
Right.
so I see a lot of people have these little air plants. Do they really survive just on air? You never have to water them. You don't have to do anything.
No, that's not true.
No.
They
Wow.
do need, let
Point.
me go grab, two quick. They're
Okay.
really close. Let me go grab two
Anything that requires any sort of maintenance from, yeah, plants don't do well with me, unfortunately.
quick.
So we're going to give you a tour of Jen's space here when we're finished up. We're going to be wrapping up shortly, but you'll have a chance to see her awesome space, and that'll be fun. Oh, those are bigger than I thought they would be.
So air plants, or Tillandsia, as they're called, come also in a lot of different varieties. So
Okay.
these are really big, large ones that are really pretty cool. And I actually have these just hanging out in the base of some of my bigger potted plants.
Okay.
So they're similar in a sense where they are getting moisture in the air. So they love misting. Or a reason why I put them sitting in the base of my plants is because they're going to get some of that moisture when I water that plant. That's going to kind of just be in the air. You can see that there is actually little roots on there.
Yeah.
So what I do with the air plants is once a week or even once every 2 weeks, I have a Rubbermaid container and I put all of my little air plant babies in there and completely submerge them and then let them hang out in
Water.
this.
So you're filling this tub with water?
Yeah, just like a bath, like you're giving your plants a bath.
All right.
You could probably even do it in your tub or your sink if you really wanted to.
Sure.
But as long as they can get like fully just submerged in a clean container, something that's not going to have soap or anything that could potentially chemical mess with it. But once they're fully submerged, I let them sit for about a half hour. And then you're going to want to shake them. You can see I had watered these, some water's coming out. But you want to make sure all that water comes out of there so it doesn't create rot. And then, yeah, then they're just good to go. And you can put them on what's cool is they don't need the pot, you know, so you can literally set these anywhere. I love these also in centerpieces for weddings. Put them in bouquets.
Great because you don't need to worry about them wilting halfway through the day.
Right, and they're an awesome keepsake. There's something that can last. I've put the little tiny babies in hair pieces and like hair accessories.
Really?
And there too, there's multiple varieties. So this is more of a small guy, and I haven't watered him in a while. I can tell because he's super dry. But you know, in this one, I just have him in this little kind of ceramic container. It kind of sits on my desk.
That's,
you know, they're kind of a cool little unique different type of thing for sure.
so anything else that you have that you want to share with us? This is a lot of great info. You got a lot of cool things. And
I think one thing too that kind of goes back to just, you know, supporting small businesses, supporting your artists, supporting, you know, those local people in your community that, you know, are really there servicing you, you know, and you've seen it a lot, but gift certificates.
yeah.
You know, that's backwards, but I do offer gift certificates that could be sent along with a little plant or something, or just alone for yourself to use later or to give to somebody to use later. You know, these can be redeemed for all different types of things. Flower classes, fresh cut flowers, plants, sending it to somebody.
You
Yeah,
mean boxes?
yeah. So there'll
Nice.
be lots. There's supposed to be one in April.
There will be again.
Right, yes.
February, right?
Had lots of cool classes lined up for this year. So with everything going on, some of those dates are being postponed
Sure.
to later dates, but everything from terrarium workshops, basic arrangements using fresh and dried flowers, floral making crowns, wreaths, all that kind of different stuff I think are really fun for classes, workshops, as well as events, things that, you know, are kind of different. Or if you have something that, you know, you want to give somebody a gift certificate, they can come up here and shop during one of the pop-ups, one of our fun events that we put on here too, you know. So yeah, gift certificates are a great thing, I think, right now for those small businesses too.
You had mentioned that you have space for events,
Yes.
smaller events. How many can you accommodate for something like that?
So I have seating for about 40 to 50 people here in my space.
Very nice.
And I can really be flexible depending on, most packages have like a 4-hour window of time, you know, which is a pretty good amount of time for you to come in, set up, get things ready, have your event, you know, take down or take out any of the things that you've brought with you. You also can add in a floral element to that. So I've done like a bridal shower where we did floral crowns. I have a kitchen within the space as well. So people can bring in food or things that they want. So we've had, like, for the baby shower, we did a parfait bar, and then they had, like, you know, Einstein bagels, and we did donuts and mimosas and things like that. So yeah, having the kitchen is a really nice resource. You can also utilize a lot of my rental items. So different trays, platters, cake stands, things that you want to just kind of have more of that celebration kind of feel. And then the space is kind of set up where it can kind of move around and be customized too to some of the needs that you have. If you're a photographer that wanted to come in and shoot a family or do a baby portrait, you can utilize all of my accessories.
Nice.
Pillows, blankets. I won't call myself a hoarder, but I'm a collector. So there's lots of things in my collection that can be utilized for fun props in kind of those photo settings or collaborations with, you know, style shoots with me doing floral or things like that too. So
Very cool. On that note, maybe you could give us a tour.
yes, I would
That'd be
love
And
to.
hopefully when I change my screen, it changes for
I
everyone.
think we need another toast, another, yes, Wednesday.
Spring. It's April
Yes.
1st.
And we're going to get through this.
Yes, we are. Of course we are. We just got to stay positive and safe and get
Right.
through it.
Okay, I'm going to
Give us a tour.
flip my computer around here.
Okay. Here we go.
So let me know if I'm walking too quickly, but
Well, I'm looking at the ceiling right now. So
oh.
There we go. That's better. Now a little up a little bit. Perfect.
So that's where you enter. Can you hear me?
I can.
Cool. So I'll walk around slow, but
Okay, so there's one of the tables. So you've got 3 tables total, right?
yeah, 3 large tables over by the kitchen. The large one's actually 2 that are pushed together, but
Okay.
you know, you can see the little stage. We've had it set up where people have opened gifts on the stage.
Okay.
Combination of rental items, retail items, things for sale. The table over here is where I tend to do a lot of consultations, meetings and things. You know, with events, I tend to light all the candles in the window and add some of that mood lighting, some of that ambiance.
A little bit hard to see. It's so bright right now, which I'm grateful for. It's nice to see the sunshine, but it's like, it's such a cool building. You got a really cool space.
Yeah, the light and
expect it to be so big.
the light in here is really, really great.
Yeah.
Throughout the whole day, really. So it is kind of a photographer's little love child in that way. Can you see? So there's the kind of back wall, my desk over there in the corner. Kind of more of the space over on this side.
More tables, I see. Okay.
Yeah, more tables set up, you know, for food or activity.
You said you had a little kitchen area too. Isn't that over to the left a little bit?
Yeah, so we'll kind of make our way. This side of the room is kind of more of my working space. So I do have on this wall kind of a collection of a lot of some of the different rental items or unique containers.
I think I
just kind of different things that you see up there that people can rent or use.
Nice. So there's the little kitchen area. Nice. Well, it's a beautiful space.
Kind of my working table where I tend to work and do a lot of different things here. And then, yeah, the kitchen. It's kind of a mess right now because I've been working all day, but the kitchen and bathroom are back in that area.
Nice.
And kind of back out.
Awesome. Oh, there's your palms. Well, let's flip it back around so we can talk a little bit, tell people how they can. I know you've had to, as all of us had, you've had to adjust sales a little bit during the pandemic situation we're all dealing with, but you are still able to service clients. My understanding, you still do delivery and you're still doing a lot of curbside pickup.
Yes, and I'm still working with all of my brides and all of my clients, you know, so
Sure.
I have had some events that had to be canceled for March. But
Here we go.
I'm still working. Yeah, still working with all of those clients that have booked for this year, as well as brides that are still booking for this year and or next year. So I strongly suggest those couples that are having their 2021 dates to definitely book, because people are having to move and switch things around and
scramble when this is over of who's going to get the dates. And so if somebody wants to order from you, if they want, what do they do? How do
they can email me at Jennifer Joyce Design at gmail.com. You can text or call at 715-505-1880. Go onto my website, Instagram, DM, all the things.
Perfect. So I will put your email address and phone number and your website and put all your contact information in the comments. So if anybody's, I mean, great opportunity. We've got Easter coming up. Mother's Day's not that far away. And right now, I mean, who couldn't use a little pick me up? This is a great, and those bulb gardens are awesome. Spring flowers. You know, you've got a lot of fun stuff. Palm Sunday coming up. That's a great value there. And, you know, a lot of people can't get out and get to church. So those that are doing their own at home.
Wanting to feel like doing something kind of neat. And those palms are awesome. Like,
they're very cool. I didn't realize how big they are.
I'm keeping some for myself because I'm going to be painting them and using them more as like a dried floral, kind of like a dried textural element. So they could easily be something that you use for Palm Sunday. and then maybe your kids paint them or you utilize them afterwards. So
Perfect.
yeah. Mm-hmm.
Fun. Very cool. Well, thank you so much for the
Oh my
wonderful
gosh.
tour and for sharing this with me. A great way to end the day. Technical difficulties, I apologize for those. It's been an eventful day for sure, but hopefully we'll get it figured out for next time. But
We made it work.
We did. We figured, well, yes, improvised, right? That's what we're all doing
Mm-hmm.
these days. So
Right.
well, it's wonderful to see you. Be
Same,
safe,
Angela.
stay healthy. Cheers. Have a
Cheers.
wonderful day. And I will talk with you again soon. Thanks everybody for joining us.
Oh, awesome.